adjust that clock on the wall to your time. That way, when I look up, I'll be where I need to be. We certainly appreciate everybody being here this morning. And Supervisor Howard is en route, and Supervisor Miller is online on the phone. Of course, she also has access to the YouTube. So we're certainly thankful to have everybody either here or en route today, and good to see everybody here today, and just thankful for another day. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to ask Supervisor Williams, if you don't mind, give us an invocation this morning.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning with gratitude and thanks in our heart for all that you do for us. We thank you first for waking us up this morning and starting us on a new journey. And part of that journey is to improve our Tippah County and make it a better place to work, live, and to raise a family. Father, we thank you for what you've already done. We pray, oh Father, for this board, and we pray for each one of the board members and the administrative staff. We pray, oh Father, that we all would come in together collectively and make the very best decision that we can possibly make for our county, that we will be able to grow and to continue to be a great place to live. We pray for those individuals who fight abroad, that they will be safe, and we pray also for their families who they leave behind. Now, Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve this great county. We pray, oh Father, that we will be able to serve well, make the type of decisions that when we leave this place, we'll look back at, and you'll be well pleased. This is our prayer. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Supervisor Williams. We pray that everybody has an agenda, and we'll try to stay with our agenda as careful as we can. If there are any changes, we'll let you know as those changes come up or as we're notified. First item of business on the agenda is the approval of the January 2023 board order. I think those board orders have been distributed amongst the board. What's the pleasure of the board on the board order?
I know I had something in here. I don't know if I did for our fire station. Citizen Bank. Insurance. Williams. Where at? I don't have anything.
Okay.
I make motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery. Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any discussions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Aye.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
No, I wasn't at one of the meetings.
Okay. The motion passes 3-1 to accept the minutes. Moving on to the next item. Is there any citizen here that's not on the agenda that would like to approach the board for up to 3 minutes? You may do so at this time. Seeing that there are none, we'll move on. I have been contacted by Dr. Rogers and Ms. Eskridge that they will not be attending this morning, and we will continue to keep those items under consideration and try to see if we can satisfy whatever concerns or whatever needs they may have. Moving on to our next item, we see Ms. Benson is here. We're going to call her forward for the North Star Site Development Engineer contract. Good morning, Ms. Benson.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Benson.
Since they're not here, I got 3 for 1.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna go over a few other things. First of all, the environmental clearance is completed for the North Star project. This is the document. We advertised to inform John Q. Public of your intent and the request for release of funds from MDA. We waited 15 days. There were no comments, so then we sent it to Jackson for an additional 15-day comment period, and that period will end this week. So, we're on a tight time frame for this first phase. We've already gone through the selection process for an engineer. The engineer of record is Neil Schaefer Engineers. Since we don't have the environmental clearance today because of that 15-day rule, and you will receive it this week, I'll ask your permission to allow the board president to go ahead and execute the contract with the engineer of record sometime this week once we receive that notification of approval and release of funds from MDA.
You heard the
Motion for
request.
approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, make it be known by the public vote sign.
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there any way, before you go any further, does anyone have any access to the YouTube? Ms. Miller can put her vote on there, and we can record it that way. If no one has it, you don't have access to it, do you, Attorney Roberts?
Let me see if I can do it. She's texting me. I've listened,
Ms. Miller, are you on?
what was your motion before I get too far off this? What did you need this?
To give the board president the permission to execute the contract with the professional of record, which would be Neil Schaefer Engineers, upon approval of environmental clearance from MDA.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by the public vote sign. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, the reason we are so anxious to get that engineering contract executed is there is some clearing and grubbing on site that must be done with these grant funds. And there is a small window of opportunity that we can go out there and cut trees because of the northern long-eared bat. And there is a window that allows us from September the 1st through May the 14th to cut trees. So we're gonna be really, really rocking and rolling this next couple of weeks.
To May the 14th.
So it's the maternity season after that for the bat, and they are on the endangered species. So I'll be back with you hopefully really soon with a construction contract for that, but we will follow the required procurement procedures. Okay, that being said, you know, this project's funded with two funding sources. The first one is an ARC grant totaling $2.7 million, which is 80% of the total project. The governor has approved a Mississippi Site Development Grant in the amount of $679,775, which is 20% of the project. So roughly we have $3.4 million in the form of grant dollars for this next phase of the project. That application was submitted last year, and we now have the grant agreement. So I'm going to pass this down for your execution at your convenience, but I will need to pick those up once it has your signature and is notarized and send it back to Jackson for the signature of MDA's Executive Director, Laura Hill. So that's some good news today.
So we need to take action on this? Or we've already taken action?
You've really already taken
Need a
action.
signature now.
Right. You just need to make it official.
Official.
And that document is official, and it's perfect timing because really, you know, we need to move forward with this project. And as you all know, it's illegal to sign any contracts without all of the funds in place, so this makes it legal. You are good to go now, so perfect timing.
What's the governor's contribution to that? The governor's contribution in grant fund, I think it was $679,000, something like that.
It
I
is, and
believe.
it's in that
It's
document.
in that document, okay.
And I think all of my cheat sheet notes are on the front of it, so, oops, I sent the wrong folder down there. I threw out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak. The last thing I have is you in requested the services of the Golden Triangle Planning and Development District to complete a phase 1 for the Felix Long Hospital. We now have that document. The phase 1 has been completed, and it does tell us that a phase 2 is necessary. This will also be covered by the PDD's Brownfield grant at no expense to the county. There is, however, a process that we have to follow, and we have to request the permission of the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality and the Region 4 Office of EPA in Atlanta. Those documents have been sent to the respective places, and we are awaiting their permission to proceed forward. But that being said, I'll leave you a copy of the phase 1.
Did it actually have what we thought was in? Okay. I figured it did.
I guess we just need to acknowledge. the
2 is
receipt of
needed in
This report. Let's acknowledge that. Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by their proper vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, the Mississippi Development Authority will be accepting community development block grant applications this May. And as always, at least 51% of the people benefiting from the project have to be of low to moderate income. This year they have less funds than they have in the past, so the competition is going to be very stiff. I'm saying that though to let you know, as my boss says, if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So if and all we can do is submit the best application that we can. So that being said, if anyone has anything that you want to talk about as far as a need that you feel like will meet the minimum threshold requirement of the funding source, get with me ASAP. Because while, May sounds like somewhere out in the distance, it will be here before you know it. And that few months will zip by really quick when you're preparing an application. So
You always do, but just go down the priorities that ranks the top.
as always, we've attended the application workshop, did that a couple of weeks ago in Jackson. And as always, water and sewer will be top priority. And then in the next category will be public buildings, drainage, things of that nature. So water and sewer, top priority with MDA. So, okay?
Home improvement used to be up toward the top anyway. Home and community improvement. So
Okay.
that's kind of
Well,
by the wayside.
no, sir. MDA has actually given their money for the home program to the Mississippi Home Corps.
That's right, Mississippi Home. Yes,
So it falls under the Mississippi Home Corps, and they have revamped the program and staffing.
That's right.
And it is geared more for not new construction, but renovation.
Renovation, that's right.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
So,
That's right.
and the problem with that is, if you identify any one problem that a home needs, say like it needs a new roof, well then you've got to make sure that the other 4 categories are brought up to code. So very easily in this area, you could spend all of the allotted amount of money. And in the long run, you would have been better off constructing a new house, but the program is not geared for that. It's really become a challenge, and we're seeing most of the money going to the Delta. And they too have a need.
Man.
But anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
As always, thank you, Ms. Barber. That's good.
Motion to acknowledge.
Motion by Supervisor Howard. Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those.
I've seen them in my packet. I make motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning the motion?
Is it gonna be for person and real?
Borrow that pen, I can't seem to find mine. I'm sorry, I'm just missed, I apologize. What was the motion?
To accept the assessment.
They're all personal and
Both person and real.
I think both of these are personal.
Personal, yeah.
all personal.
All of these are
I think
personal.
one of them,
Which said
one of them is real.
one's real.
all the way back to the back.
There's one on Lee. Yeah, couple of
All right. then,
Who made the
right,
motion?
two first and one.
Me.
You second it?
I think so.
Howard.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion passed 4-0.
And Mr. Planner, I need to get you to sign all three.
Anything else coming out of there?
Yes, sir, we got one other thing, my office and the Chancery Clerk, we're gonna need the services of Mr. Robertson, their board attorney concerning a tax sale, and, he's already helped us a little bit, and we gotta get that resolved. Probably gonna wanna meet in executive session here at some point in time this morning, whenever.
Do we do it now or later?
You just wanna do a motion? Well, tell you what, why don't we wait and let y'all know what's going on first, and then y'all can determine whether you want me to work on it or not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on it, but
That'll be later.
what I would need is a motion to allow the board attorney to work on a tax issue dealing with, the tax office and the Chancery Clerk's office, I guess.
You've heard the request, can we get a motion second to that effect? Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Anything else, Mr. Moore?
One thing I'd like to throw out there while I'm here too, I guess, is parking outside. There's been a lot more of them reserved out there. When the court's going on, you got 2 or 3 courts going on. When my people go to lunch, when the Chancery's people go to lunch, there's nowhere to park. You park on the street, the city writes a ticket.
Oh, okay.
So I'm asking the board if they'd try to address this down the road, figure out a way. It's a lot more of them reserved today than it used to be. Used to when the court was over.
Right.
They had a temporary sign, they would take it down and everybody could park there. And of course, we got more judges, more court now than we have since I've been here. And,
Any suggestions you want?
How many spaces, yeah?
my suggestion would be mark off half of this parking lot for employees. 'Cause I got 10 full-time and 1 part-time, and Miss Sharon, how many? I think she has about 5 or 6. And a lot of times they come back from lunch, there's nowhere to park. I mean,
How many spaces are out there?
Well,
you
see,
know?
we have 3 judges that are housed here now.
Yeah, that's, I was
And
gonna
plus
say.
Their staff.
And their staff, and then our 2 chancery judges are fixing to get 2 more staff, so.
That whole back area just about needs to be
And one
blocked
of
off.
Mr. Morgan's employees got a parking ticket last week, and we had to take care of it, cause during the last 2 weeks of circuit, we had chancery, so circuit and chancery was parking in our parking spot, so.
I guess my question would be this: how do we balance having our citizens be able to come and take care of county business at the county courthouse and get them parked somewhere if we're gonna, I mean, that's, we gotta do something, but that would be my concern is, our citizens still gotta be able to come and take care of county business. But I think it's something we need to
it's been going on
look at and try.
12 years I've been here, and it's got.
Well, we did try to
it's
address
gotten
some
worse,
things
right.
with some signage and things of that nature, but it's time to revisit
See,
it
they
again.
reserved several more out here lately. And that's, you
Where
were,
did that come from? I mean,
Police and a couple others.
okay.
We just need to get a count then on how many you're talking about.
I think when the city they're gonna do something to Main Street, right? That's gonna be even less when the city does that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's some kind of agreement, the board get with the city and, maybe let us park on the street from, I got a reserved spot and Miss Sharon, she got one, but my employees, it's tough when they come back from lunch, nowhere to park.
Who owns this parking lot over behind the older building that you can come in off of?
It's,
It's a private parking place.
or is it private?
But it really is private.
Yes.
I think they belong to the gentleman who owns this apartment building right here, where they did when ID had their offices over there.
maybe we could enter into some sort of agreement with him to, allow employee parking.
Yeah.
That would be a place that employees would be designated and could park, and we could still allow our citizens to come and do business. That's just something we need to talk about.
Right, because it's gonna get worse
It
when the
is.
city do it,
It
whenever they
is.
start doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the main one.
But it's bad now whenever all court's going on, you leave, you ain't got a place to park.
Yeah.
About have to go down to the church down there.
And here's my idea, and I know we had to look at it. What if the county would try to eliminate the need for parking? And when I say that here, I know people can pay virtually, I know they can pay online, I know there's a fee. What if we can absorb the fee and encourage people to do as much business as they can virtually, without having to physically come up here and park?
You got a lot of taxpayers that deal in cash, they don't have any kind of bank account.
Well, I
That's
know,
what we have.
but there
They
would be
don't have any
some,
kind of bank
I think there'll be quite a few that would take advantage of that if it wouldn't be a cost to them. I mean, you can sit at home and pay your bill online on the computer, and I have to come up here and get in that traffic. You'd eliminate quite a few people. I mean, that's just thinking outside
Some of
the
the
box.
pressure, yeah.
But I know that, I don't know whether the county can do that or not, but that's just,
I think the county can, if y'all come up with a game plan, I've said for years if we would get with the university and get them to help us with the, years ago they helped us with our website. There could be a plug-in for exactly what you're talking about. Tell you what, I'll do that.
That's- it's something we're gonna take.
I think I'll look at it and see what we can figure out on it.
But like when they buy a new or used car, they got to come in and sign.
right.
Yeah, some things you have to come in.
You'll have
At a
to-
certain time, they do have to come in. And when they file homestead the first time, they got to come in and file. So there are times they're gonna have to come
Physically have to come
in.
here.
So, but it could help in
But
some cases.
Whatever you can do, remote or virtually, I think it'll be, man,
It'll help.
it would help quite a bit.
What about sprucing up the break room area? Downstairs, I mean,
They've already done that.
Yeah, we've done that.
have you done
lately.
that? Okay.
We
Just
just
something we
need-
gotta work out.
We gotta work it out then. Let's
When
think
it's
about it.
raining and cold, if it's pouring down rain, 35, 36 degrees, and you get out and you gotta walk 200 yards to get to the building, you soaking wet.
I understand.
It's just not a good thing.
Do we have a count in terms of how many parking places you asking for? Or they gonna come later? You gonna give
Well,
us-
I could use
count.
11,
And I have 4.
so you're
No,
talking
I have
about,
5 employees.
talking about
There's
16 parking.
parking places.
If half of it was marked off, of course, I guess you got somebody that owns them buildings there, I guess they park here too, right?
The apartments do.
So they're parking there too. and-
16.
A couple of deputies back
16
there.
parking places.
Patrick.
Judges coming.
I'm saying it's almost that whole
It's
area.
almost full.
That's what I mean, yeah. There's only
Yeah.
about 20 spaces total back there. And we're talking 20. So, a lot to look at. We'll tackle it.
I want to thank the board.
Thank you, appreciate it. We're gonna
Thank
try to see if we can, I think that's an issue we can kind of tackle.
Yeah.
I think that's something we can do. We just got to stay behind it and get it done.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for coming.
I think
Yes, sir.
I think we got all the approval that you needed. We'll move to the next item. Mr. Ernest Rogers, voting precinct. Good morning, sir.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Rogers.
Me and Supervisor Will met with Mr. Restego about possibly moving the Needmore Center to on campus at the Rakeplex University facility out on Buckner Drive. And we just need approval from the board to execute the action.
Mr. Rogers has done a lot of work. Done a lot of work on that, and that site is a good site.
Yeah,
Yeah, very easy to get to, very
Uh-huh.
accommodating, so.
right. Traffic is very minimal, good parking spots, facilities, heating, cool, good facilities. And the campus said they'll work with us to get signage put up out there way too.
This is it.
You did a lot of work, we appreciate that, so I'm motion for approval that we accept, that new voting precinct, and it's at 8 Buckner Lane.
Lane.
8 Buckner Lane.
I'll second that, and I guess everything has been
With the election
passed through
commission.
election commissioners and,
Yeah.
work with the.
Yeah, well, I have to get
year that reimburses our, part of our salary back from the state. So I just need permission to apply.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes
Thank you.
unanimously.
I do have 3 more that I apply for this year. Do you want me to go ahead and get permission for those while I'm here? Because it's the next couple months when the NOFOs come out, but that way I already have them. The hazardous materials emergency preparedness grant, Rob, I made you a list.
Oh, hallelujah. Thank
Motion
you.
and second to approve that.
And I'm sorry.
A motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. So that's number 2. Number 3.
Homeland Security.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
And the 4 county grant.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And I
ma'am.
do have an update for that hazard mitigation grant. You know, we talked about the safe rooms. I went ahead and put in a request for 2. Right now, I don't have to give the exact location because what I told her is she said she could put me in kind of a holding spot. So we have one for northeast in Oktibbeha County and southeast in Oktibbeha County. So I did get, and y'all got those parcels of all the land that the county owns. So when y'all decide exactly where y'all want to put those, we can put that in later. And then I have one for 7 or 8 generators, for one for every fire station and one for the safe room.
I had some people ask me also in like the Adenton and Longview communities. I mean, is it simply because like Maven and Sturgis, they're small towns
We
incorporated?
can put it wherever y'all want to put it. I was
I
just
mean-
trying to get one at least in close proximity of every community, so I'd love to have one right
I mean,
there.
there have been
'cause-
a lot,
yeah.
especially those 2 communities
Yeah.
have been asking if
So
there's any
the only
way.
thing is just the land that, we need to look at that list to see where, because I don't remember if there was a whole lot in that area that belonged to the county. Do you remember looking at it? I'll have to go back and
There's
look.
some parcels, but yeah.
And I have a
there's some
question
limited.
in about the 16th section land, if that's something we can use, because we technically don't own it, but,
That would be a blessing from the school.
yeah. And I can go ahead and put that holding place in for one in that part of the county if you wanna.
Yeah, I mean,
We can always pull it back if we don't find the land or whatever. It just
Yeah.
kinda holds our place in that spot of
if we
money.
could, I mean,
Okay.
like I said, if we don't ask, we won't receive, so.
Right.
I thought the location, excuse me.
No, let me finish this. You know, just if you could, maybe look at possible locations in both of those,
In Adenton,
and Longview as well.
okay,
And Adenton can be on either side of the highway. It could be on my side, and then you got on Supervisor Howard's side
right,
as well.
okay. Yep, I'll do that.
And we thought it'd be a good location, the October site. We thought that would be a good location.
Yeah.
Could you revisit that?
Yeah, I just need to look at those parcels that I sent you and see what's available, because I think Patrick had looked at the fire station and it wasn't quite enough space. Is that right, Patrick? To put it right there beside the fire station, but I think there is some other property
Yes.
on Octop that we can look at.
And then the Bethel Road Fire Station.
Okay.
The fire station on Bethel Road, there's quite a bit of property there.
Okay. Stop now. That worked.
Anything else?
Okay, thank you.
If not, we certainly appreciate it. I hope you got everything you need.
Thank you, I do. And the next 2 items, if you want me to go ahead and kind of give you a brief of what the next 2 items are. So we have Motorola Solutions and 365 Labs. Like I know we put in that RFP for a public safety platform. Those were due on the 13th. We award 2 finalists, and these are the 2 finalists that got that award to do their presentations for you today. We do have an anticipated award date set up for them for February 20th. So today, they're just kind of give you a 30-minute overview of their systems, and Motorola will go first, and I'm gonna let them introduce everybody that's here with their team. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We have a presentation, if it please the board, we'll put that screen down and put the presentation on and if that's okay.
Sounds good.
And then
And I know there was a question concerning, some sensitive information that may be in the presentation. What was the?
I think
We
as long as
covered that, there's no.
You got
We all
it?
covered that?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
good.
There's no proprietary information on our slide.
Good deal.
That's good. So this first presentation will be done by Motorola Solutions, and then after them, we'll have one from 365 Labs.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. We'll let you introduce your team.
Good morning, thank you
Morning.
for having us. My name is Bill Craig, I'm one of the area managers here in the southeast. I have basically all the hurricane tornado states for Motorola, so this is my home here. With me, I have Sean Joel, Aaron Bravo, and Kenny Jones, all industry experts around the solutions that we provide. It's probably been a while since you've heard the name Motorola. I know you had a radio project come through here, seen a little bit about Motorola, and so we know you haven't seen the actual proposal itself. The proposal itself was 4,500 questions, and it wasn't just yes or no's or check the box. And hats off to her for putting that proposal together. That's normally a size proposal we get for NFL cities and major capital cities, and they weren't just yes or no questions; they were described. So we're happy that we could put that proposal together for you. And one of the things it does for us is we had a big discussion when we first got the RFP that did she mean to put all this in there? What that is for us is it lets us know you're forward thinking and forward looking, because a lot of the questions are future facing questions about where do you go from here and what's next and other technologies. So Motorola's come. Sean, do you want to go ahead and give your presentation?
sure.
You have a clicker, and
I do.
so where we've come a long way from Motorola, right? We invented the radio. Basically, we put the first call from the moon was ours. That came over a Motorola transponder back in the day. Cell phone, invented that, and then we shifted gears. And about 10 years ago, Motorola Solutions sold off the cell phone business and that microprocessor business, and we decided to focus solely on public safety. And what does public safety mean? That means, just like you said in your opening prayer, right, we want to keep cities safe and make them better places to grow up. So we are solely focused as a company on that, and now it's information-led safety. That there's a lot of data coming in. We have cell phones and videos and car cameras, body-worn cameras, that if something happens, especially in an ever-expanding and contracting city like this, if something happens, those parents, those taxpayers want to see the video, they want to see what's happening, they want to know what happened. So we solely focus on that end-to-end solution, and we're right now the industry-first public safety architecture, where if you wanted to start a police force, you wanted to start a government, you could drop off a Motorola solution end-to-end from the time the call comes in, the time that person presses 911 on their phone, until it's resolved. So enough of me. I'm going to let Sean Joel introduce himself, and then Sean's going to run through his presentation real quick. Thank you all for your time. We're glad to be here.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
As Bill said, my name is Sean Joel. I think what's important today is the valid question from is why Motorola? Why are we here, and why should you consider investing time, funds, your community safety, your law enforcement resources in Motorola? I'm going to talk about it from three phases. One is from a technological standpoint. I think it's important from technological. It's a strategic investment. It's a long-term investment that's before the board for your review and for your decision. Secondly is Motorola from a customer support and commitment. What does that mean not only to the sheriff's office, but what does that mean to you, to the community now and then moving forward after that PO is cut? And then third, and I think really important, and I really love speaking to it, is Motorola and our culture. What are we internally? Because I think that really drives the internal processes, it drives that customer support, it drives how we come up with our solutions, deployment, but most certainly when things don't go correctly, because it's technology, so things don't always go correctly, right? Where are we? Are we there, or are we somewhere else? Are we there next to you or behind you or whatever? So I think those three things are important to discuss in a short time and to be respectful of it. But I'm going to come and discuss this with you from two different spaces. So one, I've been with Motorola for about 3 years now. Very fortunate and privileged to be part of this team and to work with individuals you see here in the room. Prior to that, though, I was very privileged to be a public servant for Pinellas County Sheriff's Office for 31 years. Down on the north Pinellas County, it's Clearwater Beach. Everyone knows that, St. Petersburg. So first generation law enforcement family. Retired after 31 years as the assistant chief deputy. Was very privileged and fortunate to move up through the ranks. And even better than that, our oldest boy Trevor is a 3-year deputy sheriff now, or my two nephews as well. So we're keeping that going and trying to serve the communities. And this allows me to continue to do that from this aspect. So as Bill said, Motorola's been around for wow, over 95 years serving public safety and the communities they represent in both hardware, mission critical communications, or radios, and as Bill said, software, which has really been like our greatest push over the last decade or so, because software really ties in all the solutions we're going to talk about. You mentioned that we have an end-to-end solution. It's a mission-critical public safety platform. And what that means is we have, through considerable funding and efforts through research and development and acquisitions of companies which are best in class that actually provide solutions for public safety agencies. We've acquired those over the last 10, 11, 12 years to construct what you see up here, which is our end-to-end mission-critical public safety ecosystem. If you really look at this moving from left to right, I've got a laser here, it's broken down into 3 segments: incident awareness, management, and then resolution. But if you look at this, this really is just the life cycle of a call for service. What's going on right now, the men and women on the street today, where people are calling 911, asking for a response, asking for resources, asking for help. It starts with a citizen calling in. In most calls, I know down in Florida, I speak from Florida, but most calls coming in, 80–85% are cell phone. Very few people use landline. My mother doesn't even use a landline anymore. She uses a cell phone in order to communicate with our 2 boys and all her grandkids. So this ecosystem, why it's important, and through that research and development, those acquisitions, is that as a company, we've actually either designed, built, and implemented, or purchased those companies that were absolutely best in class to provide solutions for every single aspect or function of this life cycle of an incident. So from the time that call comes into your call routing, into your communications center, to where your call taker receives the call, gets the information from that citizen in your community requesting assistance, processing it, and then passing it off to the dispatcher so that he or she, as a dispatcher, can actually allocate the correct resources. All the way through to the time that your deputies arrive on scene, to actually handle and manage that incident, and then as it's processed through the record management system, whether that is post-incident investigation, so if it's a large crime, like a robbery, homicide, hope a lot of those don't happen here, but post-incident investigation where they can go and pull that information and subsequently locating those suspects and then arresting them and placing them in the jail. Why that's important to see this and to understand this today is that what is being presented to you as a board of supervisors is a solution to the FlexCAD, the mobile solution, which is your users on the street, the record management system, and the jail management system. What you're being asked to review and to make a decision upon, there are 4 aspects that are already within this ecosystem. The very important aspect of this is that every one of these solutions that you're seeing up here, because of the software, is integrated and they all talk to each other. They're all connected, which means these systems are not separate, disparate data silos anymore. Where, to make it really simple, I don't have to log into 4 different systems to gather information. I can make one entry and I can hit all 4 of those that you see, or all of them, as Bill said, from the very beginning across all those different software solutions, so they share information, they collaborate. And where that is important to your first responders is that as a dispatcher, if you were dispatching your deputies to a high priority incident, shots fired, a robbery, homicide, whatever it may be, the dispatch has the ability now to go into their systems, pull information with one entry, and actually pull records from all these different disparate data sets that now are talking together and provide that information. This is where it's critical, is provide it to those deputies, those first responders, or fire rescue, whatever it may be. Information that is relevant, it's credible, and it's accurate to that particular incident, and provide it to them before they go on scene. And in law enforcement, that's what we call situational awareness. So now they're not going in blind. They have more information, which is going to lend to a safer, a much better response. And if they have a safer response, at the end, you're going to have a safer community. These truly are solutions that are designed for the safety of your responders, your first responders, but also the continued safety of your community. So Flex, remember I said companies that make solutions that are best in class. Well, Flex has been around for over 35 years, this CAD solution, records management, mobile, and the jail. We actually purchased them in 2016. They were just that good and still are at the very top of their class within this industry. We continue to advance and move forward. There was one other solution that was included in the proposal, a different option for your consideration. This one was for our in-car camera solution, which is known as the WatchGuard M500 solution. As you can see in the screen here, again, with the software and the advancements in technology, the dispatcher actually has the ability to actually see in real time live streaming video from the deputy's cruiser as they are effecting traffic stops, as they are in pursuits, as they're responding to a high priority incident. If they call out for assistance because they're in some sort of a critical incident or a fight or a shooting or whatever it may be, they have the ability to pull that live video stream in and see exactly what's going on. So now they're going to have the ability to better allocate correct resources. They can also see exactly on the map where they're driving or where they ended up. So again, they can redirect resources. But I'll offer this to you. I really didn't think about this until I really started looking at this particular solution, because it really is an advancement in technology, and it's amazing that it can really come into your communication center and just provide those eyes on. There's two other factors about this. Number one, if you're a supervisor and you're not on scene, but you can hear all this going on in the radio traffic, you have the ability to see this live video streaming, and it can actually make decisions on what's occurring because you're watching the live feed from this car, or you can reallocate different resources to assist in whatever that particular need may be. The second part of that is it's not always going to be a critical incident. I always thought it's going to be one of your deputies in a fight with somebody, or in a shooting, or in a foot chase. It very well could be one of your deputies having a medical incident, a cardiac arrest, and they can't breathe, so they hit the emergency alert and the button on the radio, or they click their mic and the dispatcher activates that and sees maybe something's going on. The other thing is it may be a fentanyl exposure. They're packaging fentanyl to where, again, they can't breathe and they can overactivate it.
The dispatcher can actually, from the dispatch, activate this?
Yes, sir.
They don't have to wait on it?
No, that's where we're going. Of course, there's policies and procedures in place, but this is the latest generation of this in-car camera system. And it's just amazing to see how technology is advancing these days. I thought it was important just to put this up there and just to show it to y'all. So let's talk about customer support. I think that's really important. I can tell you when I always say, because normally I'm talking to sheriffs and chiefs, and I always say when I was on that side of the table, I was never a county supervisor, or back in my neck of the woods, a county commissioner, but I did have to get up a couple times the sheriff would let me to speak to y'all. But from a customer support, I think it's really important that we just explain how that process works. So as a county, you're assigned, regardless, you have an account manager. Your account manager is Kenny Jones. He's yours. He is all things Motorola. He is the tip of the spear. Everything Motorola is Kenny. And he is responsible for your county and anything that we have to do as far as from a Motorola standpoint, hands down, including all the customer support, any initiatives you may have. If the decision is to choose to move forward with Motorola, we have a pre-sales team we work with, a post-sales team, which is part of the process as far as going through all the proper records, documentation. But once that is signed off and once that is completed, you're assigned a project manager. So now this PM, this project manager, is assigned to your county, your communication center directly, along with solution architect and his or her full team, to ensure that the deployment and the sign off on this particular project meets with your requirements, your statement of work, and absolutely to your satisfaction of your dispatchers, right, your end users. It has to have sign off from all the people involved in it. And then once that's done, once that's completed, there is a intentional handoff between the project manager up to, if you see customer support, moving up along to the left-hand side. It's direct, it's a very internal process and a very intentional process within our company to ensure that the customer support team responsible for your particular agency, your community, understands everything you invested in, what your expectations were, and how that solution is supposed to work to what fits the needs of your community and your law enforcement providers. You see up there is also a customer success. Customer success is another person that works hand in hand with Kenny, and that's Roberta Ivory. And she ensures and helps Kenny that if anything comes up, questions, if you're looking at different technologies, or we need additional training because you have new dispatchers that you just hired, or whatever it may be, is that we're there to help you. So if Kenny's on vacation, Roberta's right there, and vice versa, to ensure that whatever we agree to do, that we're going to do internally, and we move that needle forward, and we don't let it fall through the gap. It's a really interesting process. It's a process that works, and it's very deliberate. The four up on the top there, just to show you the aspects of the team within Motorola, so you understand, is we have a software manager, which is Aaron Bravo. Where are you at, Aaron? perfect hair, always dressed to the hilt. Wish I was that young again. Industry and team specialist, that's myself, because I came from law enforcement, just to help out from an operational standpoint. A solution architect, which is the very technical individual that understands all the inner workings and all the technologies, are still going to be there, still can be relied on. And then the fixed mobile and video, if you choose to move forward with an M500 solution, we have people dedicated just to that solution as well to ensure that we are meeting your needs now and moving forward. The reason I show this and the reason it's important is that was one of my biggest concerns when I was on the other side of the table is, this looks great, it's a great solution, it looks like it works, we've checked the references, but it's technology. Things are going to happen, updates are going to occur, things are going to fall through. What's your customer support? What does it look like? Are you guys responsive? Are you respective? Are you going to meet our needs? And I'm just here to tell you that when the PO's cut, we don't cut and run. We're here for the long haul because it's really about being a partner. We call it a trusted advisor, not just being a vendor. It's just not what we do. And I'm going to show you a couple things here as I finish up that I think will lend to that, that trusted partner. So a little bit about Kenny and Roberta. Kenny, yeah, big smile back here. He lives in Richland, Mississippi. He's been associated with Motorola as an MR for the first 15 years. Came over in 2020, and he's already moved up to also having the entire state of Mississippi under his purview, which he's responsible for. So he has a really good understanding of the needs of the communities. He's very invested. He's always on the phone, constantly talking to people and getting things done. But he's just a great person to have on your side as far as an account manager. This is Roberta. Unfortunately, Roberta couldn't be here this morning. She wanted to, but she had another commitment. Over 26 years as a dispatcher, working in communications and PSAP. She's got an extensive history in public safety. She's also very well educated. She is a fantastic person and loves what she does within Motorola. And she's just a great person to work with. So culture. This is hands down. When I was interviewed, just to give you a little history, I went through 7 different interviews for Motorola. I think I was retired for 3 months, and I told my lovely wife of 32 years now, I can only paint the wall so many times. I had done my remodeling, done my list, and so I was in conversation with Motorola. And on all 7, I asked, what's the culture is like? What is it like in Motorola? Because it was going to the private side. I've grown up in the public sector. I grew up in the sheriff's office. As you guys understand, our culture in public safety is very important. We take care of each other through each day. So I asked that, and everyone that I talked to said that culture here is just incredible. And I'm like, okay, it sounds good. Well, I'm here to tell you, 3 years later, the other shoe hasn't dropped. It really is an amazing culture. And as an example, so we're in Hurricane Alley, all of us. I live in Florida on the Gulf side. So Hurricane Ian came through. It was supposed to do a direct hit in Tampa Bay. It made that right-hand turn just like Charlie did about 10 years ago and went through Charlotte County, unfortunately. However, Motorola does an amazing job of standing up teams prior to a hurricane, during and after. And I'd already known this by this point. I mean, it was just incredible efforts here in Motorola providing services, ensuring the critical communication infrastructures were up and running and they're not getting fixed. But this is where I learned that. You remember Ida back in 2021. I happened to be on a call probably about 3 or 4 days out before the storm was supposed to make landfall. I was already in the Gulf. They already brought it up to the I think a Cat 3, Cat 4 by that time. And I heard that they were having a pre-deployment, pre-hurricane conference call with the Motorola. And I asked my territory vice president, I was like, do you mind if I listen to that? Because I'm interested. Because in law enforcement, I grew up in special operations. I was always involved in pre-operational planning, and then post-disaster assessment and reallocation of our resources. 45 miles an hour, the winds die down, you send the helicopters out and the drones, and you do the best you can to get those areas that were most impacted. So I got on the call, and I was doing a remote. So they have a call at 9 o'clock in the morning and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was the 3 days prior to the storm, during the storm, and then for 3 weeks after the storm. Every single day, Saturdays, Sundays, I can sit at my desk with a cup of coffee and Saturday morning and listen to it. Over 71 people were on this call, all Motorola and all or MRs, all prepared to respond to the areas most impacted. They had actually pre-deployed with tractor trailers, trucks, everything that you see up here. And as soon as the storm died down and where they could get in, they actually deployed to those areas absolutely hardest hit, where we lost communications towers, We lost equipment. And to ensure that all the communities, not just Motorola, wherever we could help out, had critical communication stood up back as quickly as possible, had radios, had batteries, had where they had. And to give you 2 examples, and Kenny just reminded me of one this morning. Back when Katrina hit New Orleans, they weren't even a Motorola customer back then, but they had no communication. He says, "What we went up and put it up on a crane, put a crane up and put an antenna up on the crane so they could actually have their communications working at that time." But when Ida hit in New Orleans, because I think the flooding was actually worse, unbelievably, but it was worse. The dispatchers and the officers could not get to their homes. They just couldn't get there, and they just didn't have the proper basic necessities. And Mike Dronette, who's just like Kenny, he's an account manager, he took it upon himself to call out to Arizona, got with a company that actually provides those tractor trailers that have the portable restrooms and showers and nice changing areas with air conditioning. And they actually agreed to bring 2 over. One went to the police department, the other one over to the communications, OPCD, so they could actually have a place with running water and AC and a place to change. You know, we all know, I mean, we're in Hurricane Alley. I mean, just brushing your teeth and washing your face, you know, after a hurricane when there's no power is just like the best thing ever. So it really does speak to our culture. And then this last thing, it just came out last week. I just thought it would be important to put in here. So for the 6th year in a row, our company was recognized as one of the most admired companies by Fortune 500. But what it means, and Greg Brown's our CEO. He's been our CEO for a while now, and it's love listening to him. He said, "This recognition speaks to the resilience of our people, us and Motorola, the strength of our business, and unwavering commitment to delivering the mission-critical solutions our customers rely on every day." And I strongly believe, and I say that with all honesty up here, I think it's truly important that if our culture is strong and our people are absolutely genuinely passionate about what they do, the services they provide, that the customer support, the commitment to be there, the respect, and the solutions deployed, they're all going to fall in place and you'll be very satisfied. Because as I said before, we're in it for the long haul, good, bad, or indifferent. The best thing about having that strong customer support, and I've seen it, is if we mess up, if it's our mistake, we're going to tell you, hey, we screwed up, our fault, we're going to get this fixed, we're going to tell you why, and we're going to tell you why it's not going to happen in the future. And it's happened. It's going to happen. Things will go awry, but it's important that we're responsive and respectful for that. We firmly believe we want to be here, and we want to be here for you and your communities in the times that matter the most. And that's the presentation. Hope I didn't go over. See my flag? Are there any questions?
When it's over.
No, you got it.
Oh,
I have 8 minutes.
still have.
So,
Are there any questions? Or
Yeah, so in closing, it's Q&A. I know you haven't seen the proposal, but is there any questions we can answer about kind of where Motorola's going, or technology, or how we do things, or how we do business, or what you could expect if you did business with us? We're open to any of that, to answer any questions you have.
please hit us with it.
How hard is it to get in touch with your support team?
It's not 24/7, and we close, honestly, it's a good question, because I asked it. It's important.
Yeah, because, I mean, things are gonna happen.
100%. Nope.
Yeah.
I thank you for asking that.
The worst
So
moment.
we talked to Micah, who's one of our hired us about it. What are we, 95, 96% that the call and the issue is resolved on the first call. But we're 24/7. We do answer. And if there's anything that goes awry with it, that person right there, that person, these guys here, and myself, and Roberta, any one of us will answer our phone on the fly. And if something's not to your liking, trust me when I say this to you, and I mean this with all honesty, we will push internally to figure out what's going on and get it done. That's why there's a whole team here,
24 hours,
24/7.
seven
days a week.
days a week.
It's mission critical. You have to have it. You can't have your CAD go down. You can't have radio communications go down. You can't have your
No
geo
good if
maintenance
it's
system.
going down and you can't get it back up.
100%, and there's got to be redundancy in place, and that's why it's so important on the deployment side, that project manager is working with your team, and from an informational technology standpoint, from an operational standpoint, to ensure that when you say it's good, and we get that user acceptance, is what we call it, UAT, user acceptance testing, that it meets your satisfaction. But as I said, we don't cut and run after that PO's done. We're here for the long haul, and that's for everything. You may be extremely upset and taking my hair and pushing it down this ear and out this other one. Well, that's okay. That's my job. We're going to get it fixed. We want to make sure not only you're satisfied, but your community's safe. And if we're not responsive and not respective of issues that are going to occur, then we're not doing our job and we shouldn't be here. And that's just not us. And that's why I brought this up, and that's why that culture is so important, because I'm telling you, a lot of us are public safety, some are not. But I have yet to meet, and I was just telling Kenny at dinner last night, I have yet to meet a person that is not genuinely and passionately driven to do the best job they can. And they get frustrated if they can't get it done in a timely manner. They work hard to ensure, regardless of where they are in this company, that you as a community, you as a law enforcement entity, have what you need to do the job you do. It's that important. They understand it. It is mission critical. It's just not a term. It truly, they believe that.
On my team, you know, when there's an issue with a customer, no matter what it is, those notifications come out to us, to the executive team. That's part of the way we do business, right? So we see that come up, we get the 2 o'clock in the morning message. In the morning, we're on the phone. What's going on down there? We know they had a tornado come through, blew the lights out, internet's down, phones down, radios are down. Who's going there? So one of the first, we have access, badging, where we can get into any disaster area. One of the first people you see is our folks.
Right.
We come in and that's part of our job. You see Motorola people on the street. We can put, we're big enough, thank goodness, and we've been around long enough, we can put a badged Motorola employee that has access to everything in any PSAF in the United States in an hour. So, I mean, people come and that's what we do. Roberta Ivory, who you saw as customer success and he talked about, her whole job is making sure you're happy, and part of the handover process to the support team, that Roberta's job is to make sure you know how to get help in 2 or 3 different ways, and what your specific escalation path is to get your problems resolved if they're not resolved right away.
I'll give you a real life example real quick, just to show you the commitment. Chance Salome is one of our account managers, and he was there in Ida. And after everything cleared, I had to go over something in Baton Rouge, and he's got a 4Runner. Took my backpack, and I said, let me put this in the back. And I started putting it back, and I went, there's this page. Sorry for this, I'm going to record, but he had underwear, t-shirt, socks, shirt, all like vacuum sealed in the back. I'm like, Chance, everything okay at home? He goes, yeah, but that was for the past hurricane. He was literally drove in there, he was living in his car for weeks, calling into our conference calls I mentioned earlier at 9 and 5 every day, calling in, but he was living in his car, away from his family for weeks, trying to get things up and running and fix his problems and make sure they have communication. I'm sorry, so you had a question.
And sounds like Christian has put together a very detailed list of questions. And I heard you mentioned something about some of those questions is talking about for the future.
Yes, sir.
So as you all are building this for Tippah County, say 5 years from now, how are you building it so that in 5 years, you know, with the changing in technology and things of that nature, the add-ons or the upgrades, updates, how are you building it now so that 5 years from now we don't have to go back and just tear down the whole thing and redo it?
Sorry. My wife, I'm sure. That's her ringtone. Making sure I eat. So, you know, we're trying to evergreen our products. And by evergreen, we mean we will evolve, not revolve, right? So evolution, not revolution. So our products are continuing, you know, as things change, as the way my daughter now has a cell phone, right, and she's 12 and she videos with me. The way things change, we meet the standards that are coming up, the open standards for NENA and APCO. We meet those, but we're constantly evolving. So your question is, 5 years, do we have to do it all over again? No, you don't. Our products continue to evolve. You're gonna make this expenditure, right? And it's a big expenditure. It's $1 million, it's no joke. It's a lot of taxpayer money. You wanna know in 5 years, am I gonna have to buy another one? The answer is no. We'll continue to evolve. We may upgrade your hardware and your software along the way to make it a better product, to change some things, and maybe, you know, because the computer in your home 5 years from now, you need to replace those things that spin. But this core technology and the core software and the operating systems maybe need to be changed, but the thing, your investment now is an investment for the future. Right? We're going to continue to do this. And as you add things, we'll continue to upgrade those as well. So I'm not saying you won't have to replace your hardware, but for sure, we try and make evergreen systems. We don't end of sale these.
And to that point, this whole ecosystem was built upon that very thought. It's a long-term approach. We don't expect to buy every single solution there. But this is all integrated. It's scalable, the software. A lot of it's agnostic in design, so the whole point is to bring in and leverage those technologies. And you may see something new in the future that says, hey, we like that technology. Can we bring that into our platform? And we'll say, let's take a look at it, and as long as they can write what we call our API, yeah, we can bring that solution in, so we can leverage that investment that you feel is important to make within your community and for the law enforcement, fire rescue services you're providing. But as Bill said, all this is connected. This is just one part. This is the ecosystem, and it's purposely built for that 5, 10, 15-year strategic view that you're responsible for as a community leaders here. Looking ahead at if you are going to build on and make changes, it falls right in line here, and it will be a seamless approach and a seamless build out to continue moving forward. So there's not this hard stop interruption of operations, or where you say, you know what, we made all that, that funding and that investment, and now it's gone. That's not how it works. It's a continued investment.
We have 2,500 other customers on this solution across the United States on the Flex system. Excuse me. So New Hips. We have 2,500 other customers. So I mean, for us to say to that industry, hey, we're just going to stop selling this, it's just not going to happen. We're going to continue to evolve that. That's part of it. Part of the way.
I do have a question. I guess it refers to like the records and the evidence management. In other words, body cam footage, dash cam footage. Where is that going to be stored? And it may not be evidence now, but 2 years down the line, that could be evidence. How easy is that to access for Kristen or law enforcement? Is there a database that it's stored in?
This is Aaron Bravo.
Yeah, so I'll answer that for you. So there's really two different avenues when it comes to evidence, right? There's digital evidence and then there's physical evidence, both of which are going to be maintained within the Flex system. From a digital evidence standpoint, right, we have the ability to go ahead and ingest things like full USBs, full disks. You can keep them in a digital version, and they maintain within our cloud hybrid solution, which is called CC Evidence. Again, part of this ecosystem and included within your proposal. But that's going to be held there indefinitely for you. Obviously, there's processes in place. There's certain things that if you don't want to retain those, right? Hey, if it stays here for particular incident type, keep it for a year, and then go ahead and purge it. Those processes are established by y'all, but you could hold things indefinitely within that system.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Well, we certainly appreciate you all's presentation this morning, and we'll get ready for the next one.
Thank you for your
Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
sir. Have a great day. Our next presentation will, let's acknowledge the receipt of that presentation. Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams. Any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, be known by the clerk vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Mr. Joe Lunt. Mr.
She's
Lunt.
at Smith Lake.
Hey, thank you. We appreciate y'all. I'm Bill Roberts, and one of the service we represent. We're here in Mississippi. One thing I do want to mention, Motorola does have a corporate office in Mississippi. The state requires it. We maintain the MISWIN system. So Flowood, Mississippi, we do have a corporate office there. So we got a lot of employees here in Mississippi, Motorola. So thank you.
Thank you,
Yes, sir. Have we heard or text or anything?
I've been texting her back and forth.
Okay.
She's watching it online.
So she can see it.
She can.
Okay.
I think she can see it.
She admitted it.
She's told me that she can see it. Tell me if you can't see it.
Supervisor Miller.
While y'all are setting up, I need just about 1 second, bro.
No problem. Certainly.
Give us 2 seconds. We'll get you back on track. We're still trying to get her on the phone.
Appreciate that.
Everybody take a backpack break, or what we doing?
All right, we certainly appreciate you all being here with us this morning. Looking forward to the presentation.
We ready to begin?
Let's see if we can wait until those two get back for just a second.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you all for coming and being a part of it. Certainly some very important information. Mr. Warren, we're gonna slip you in also. I think you had an item or two you need to present to us, so we definitely we'll bring you up right after this.
While we're waiting,
We run ahead schedule.
at our
Go ahead.
previous board meeting, I think it's second board meeting, item 16, I was a nay vote. I want to change that to a yay vote. There were some concerns about some work being done on a 911 road, but after they went out and investigated everything, we were able to do it. So I want to change that from a
What
nay.
number was that?
Number 16,
On the first meeting?
second meeting.
Second meeting?
What I'll do just as soon as Rob is here, we'll bring that action back up and we'll amend that. Mr. Montgomery, we got an amendment that we want to take under consideration for our minutes.
Okay.
Supervisor Howard wants to go back and amend his
16.
motion, amend his vote for item 16.
16.
First meeting or second?
Second meeting.
That's on what day
He
is
was
that?
changing it from nay to yay.
Okay, that's Wash Lane.
Wash Lane, yeah.
Yeah.
The Wash Lane, yeah.
Yeah. And that was, I don't know whether Montgomery, were you here?
No, he wasn't here.
No, it
So
was
that
just,
second was.
Seconded by Montgomery.
That second by
He was on the
Frank.
phone.
Did you,
Yeah, he was on the phone.
But that was
on the
after,
second.
that was after he had
Oh.
to
I think he
repeat,
had
remove
left.
himself.
Yeah, I think he had left then.
That was after he had removed himself. It was toward the latter part.
So I think that's your,
Yeah.
who seconded?
I second.
That's what I
So
thought.
it'll be unanimous, 3 votes.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I knew it was something on this that I was looking for.
So what?
The archive ones too. Oh, no, they're not.
Yeah, they're not working.
They're not working.
Can you all, I'm gonna let you all inform Mr. Robinson of the change. We got a motion by Supervisor Howard. We got a second, since we were here, a second by Supervisor Williams, that we amend that vote to 3-0 on that particular item. Any questions concerning the motion? Howard and Williams. All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk, vote sign. Motion passes 4-0.
Then you make, who second on that same motion?
I second.
Right.
Well, motion passes 3-0.
Yeah,
So it's Howard and you.
Howard
I don't see any problem
and
with it.
Howard and Williams.
Williams.
Howard and Williams on the amendment.
We gotta keep the road
The
open.
original one was listed.
So you all inform Rob that.
What, it just a road,
it was,
road.
when we were discussing, it was just a little confusion about because the 911 road was involved in there. But after, our road manager interims went out and checked the situation out, and we were all good, so that's why I'm changing it.
They just did
Fair enough.
board orders.
I think she's texted you.
Number, on the second meeting, number 16, it was on the Watts Lane, Howard, Wash Lane. Howard changes his vote from nay to yea. Howard motioned it, Williams seconded, so it was 3-0. Was John Lennon.
What did it do, just when it, did it come up over the road and erode a piece of the road, or did it go down?
It was some washing taking place. We was trying to make sure, determine that it was a cause of the county that was,
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like we're ready to go. Mr. Lutz.
Thank you so
Yes, sir,
much.
you can introduce yourself and the team.
Appreciate that. My name is Joe Lunt.
Lunt.
I am an executive vice president and partner in 365 Labs, and with me is George O'Connor. He would be your account manager, so you select 365 Labs as your vendor. We're based out of Baton Rouge, so just 4.5-hour drive. That's where George came in last night from. And so we would like to thank the county, like to thank the board and the sheriff's office for allowing us the opportunity to come and present here today and give you a little bit of a background about our company, our history, where we came from, things that we feel make us unique in this space and set us apart from our competitors, generally speaking, and answer any questions that you have. So with that, we thought we would start with what we call the 365 Labs journey, and that's where we came from as a company and how we got to where we are today. So our company history begins in 2001. Our sister company is General Informatics. General Informatics became one of the Southeast's most successful managed service providers. So it's like an IT services company based out of Baton Rouge. And by 2005, we were recognized by Microsoft as the #1 provider in our space in the country as a partner with Microsoft. From 2009 to 2019, we were recognized by Inc. magazine as one of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the country 6 different times. So it was during that space of time that we begin to acquire public safety customers, counties, police departments, and even state law enforcement. And we would manage their CAD, their records, their JMS systems. Some of those customers approached us and said, there's some gaps in the solutions that we have today. And in this industry, there's historically always been kind of a gap in the e-citations, e-warrant space. And so we were contracted to build an e-citations program for the East Baton Rouge County Sheriff's Department, which we did and released in 2012. We hold 3 patents on that application and the way that it works. It was so successful that our customers came back and said, could you build an e-warrants? Could you build a prosecution module? Could you build interview room software for us? And so we began to do those things from 2012 to around 2015. And then in 15, the thought was, maybe we should be in the full space and either acquire or build a CAD system, a record system, a JMS system, which really is kind of the foundational core of any of these computerized ecosystems for law enforcement. It didn't take very long to make the decision to build versus buy, because the industry was fraught with old technology. And if we had these new applications, were we going to marry them to something old, right? So we went into, sorry, I got ahead of myself there. We went into an incubation mode, basically, for about 3 years, and carved off resources within our company, started to work on the development of records, jail, and CAD. Around 2019, and if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and back up. I've got to do that over here. I accidentally clicked the button and jumped ahead. So around 2019, the East Baton Rouge County Sheriff was about to go out to RFP to select a new vendor for records management and jail management. And Mo Veach, who's the founder of General Informatics and 365 Labs, just invited their IT director over and said, I've been working on something. It may not be ready for prime time today, but I'd like you to take a look at it and give us your feedback. The comment was, we think that you guys are poised to be the Microsoft of public safety software. They canceled their RFP process and they entered into a contract with us to provide the records management and the jail management systems. And so in 2021, January 2021, they went live with our record system. At the same time that they were migrating from an old to a new record system, they were migrating from a different national standard for reporting crimes to the federal government, UCR, IBR, which is a big feat. So they made a switch in both of those systems, and within less than 3 months, they were reporting it at nearly 100% accuracy in their reports. Today, if you were to call and talk to their captain over support services, which we've provided that reference, she would tell you that they are 100% paperless today, utilizing our system. In July of last year, we stood them up on our JMS system. Likewise, you could contact the warden there to get feedback. In 2020, by the end of 2020, Mo, our founder, decided, look, I've always wanted to be a software vendor. So back when we started the company in 2001, that's what the intention was to develop software. But everybody said at that time, can you stand up our server? Can you stand up our email? And we became more of an IT services company. Mo's technical background, he has a double master's degree in computer science and industrial engineering from LSU, so we wanted to move that direction. We are fully funded and secure with no outside investment in our company today. In 2021, April of 2021, Mo reached out to me. I have over 20 years in this industry. I started out with a company called Spillman Technologies, ran all of their sales and marketing for 16 years until we were acquired by Motorola Solutions, and worked for them for 4 years until joining 365 Labs. After I got here, I called Richard Spillman, who was the founder of the Spillman Flex product, and said, I'd like you to come out to Baton Rouge and take a look at what we're doing here to see what you think. He was so impressed. He wanted to be a part of the company in some way, and so we asked him to join the company as a member of our board of advisors to help us make good decisions regarding how to take care of customers. This is Sheriff Sid from East Baton Rouge, a quote that he made. This is a large department, so our first customer has 850 deputies, over 1,000 full-time, and over 2,000 beds in the jail. So we didn't start small, we started big, which is unusual. Last year we were recognized by Inc. magazine as one of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the country. We were like number 152, but we were in the top 20 when it comes to software companies. At the start of 2022, our footprint was the state of Louisiana only. Last year, we added customers in each of those states that are highlighted. And I would also mention a good reference point, perhaps, for the board or for the sheriff's office is to reach out to MAC 911. It's Grant County, Washington. They did a county-wide implementation, 20 agencies total. Half of them are law enforcement, half of them are fire, EMS with a centralized dispatch center. And they migrated off of their current system and are migrating onto ours. And the reason I say that is they signed in August. And so, as is often the case with these implementations, there's a level of enthusiasm and excitement that exists at the beginning when you first sign with a new vendor. Then you start to implement it, and users have to make changes. And there's kind of an enthusiasm dip that takes place, and then you have to bring them out of that. They're probably at what would traditionally in this market be one of the worst places to call for a reference. We would encourage you to call them and ask them how the project is going. So what sets 365 Labs apart from the rest of the market? If we were to define the market on two polar extremes, there's the legacy vendors. These are characterized as vendors that have typically been in business anywhere from 20 to 40 years. They have on-prem solutions, so we've got to put a box on site, right, and install the application with kind of older style desktop programs where you're running an exe file. Oftentimes, over the last 10 years, these legacy vendors, there's been a lot of consolidation in this marketplace, a lot of acquisitions. So they didn't necessarily build everything themselves that they're providing. They may have built some of it, and they acquired some of it as well. And they try to integrate it, or interface it would be a better word than actual integrate it. There's only a handful of disruptive vendors in the market space right now. We would be characterized as vendors that have maybe been around 5 to 10 years. We are cloud native. We're not taking an old-fashioned system, retrofitting it, right, to say that it is cloud when it's really just a retrofit cloud. We have purpose-built integration. Everything that has been presented in our RFP, anything that we've done in vendor presentations in the past at the sheriff's office, we built those applications. We haven't white labeled anything. It's not a partnership with another vendor. It's not something we acquired and tried to make work together. You will see that the disruptive vendors typically run in browsers and mobile applications. So it's things that people are familiar with, right? Officers, especially the younger generation coming up, we're all used to having handheld devices like this where we install apps. All of our applications, all of our programs run in a mobile environment like this. And we're using the latest and greatest technologies to build these things, which increase our ability to, increases our speed of development in taking these products to market. I won't spend much time on this, just to say as a philosophy, what our company believes in doing is leveraging the horizontal. So wherever there are vendors like Microsoft or Android or Apple that provide technologies that apply across the board, across many markets, let's leverage those technologies and let's focus our efforts specifically on law enforcement functionality that nobody else does. So an example of that is leveraging standards in the marketplace, leveraging investments that perhaps you have already made as a county. Our application's foundation is based on Microsoft, a lot of the Microsoft products like Microsoft Azure. So our system sits in the Azure Gov Cloud. We use Azure SQL Server. So these are technologies on the back end that IT people are very familiar with. They are topics that are being taught in almost all community colleges out there. Finding professionals that can help maintain these systems is easy. We use Azure Active Directory for our security, probably something your county is already leveraging today. And we also leverage what's called the Azure Stack, hyper-converged infrastructure, technical words, but what it basically means is if we come across an agency who says due to internet connectivity or other concerns, we would like this product to still be on site versus in the cloud, we have the ability to do that. We leverage the investments in Microsoft 365, so we're using Word, Excel, Outlook, Teams to do, and the Power Platform. The reason that we want to highlight this is that our partnership here with these companies, they're investing billions of dollars every year on cybersecurity. IECP just released a report that highlighted the 5 biggest challenges affecting law enforcement today. One of those is cybersecurity attacks. We're seeing that the federal government is increasing the requirements it is putting on states, counties, and municipalities to protect their data. Microsoft is spending billions of dollars on the cybersecurity, so that is built into our system, as well as 90+ compliance regulations and offerings like CJIS, FedRAMP, NIST, HIPAA, ISO, etc. A slide I might skip through quickly, but I would just say older legacy systems use that .exe executable file to install a program that assumes a lot of privileges when it's installed. There are systems that are browser-based and there are systems that are app-based. We are exclusively browser and app. We leverage browser for consumption and sharing, like with DAs, with other departments, and IT people to have the ability to get into the system and make changes wherever they are. However, for end users, we find that people are very used to simple, light apps. So we've built apps considering the big macro workflow of a department down into micro workflows and provide apps that are very easy for people to learn and to use. Some key advantages that utilizing apps has for us is that these can work offline. Connectivity doesn't always exist. So if you were to lose connectivity, the officer, the deputy could continue to work. When the system comes back online, what they were doing automatically syncs up. The only indication to them that anything changed would be a little light in the top right-hand corner that's either green or red, but they will have the ability to continue to work. A feature that sets us apart in this market space. So there's an overview look of the 365 platform, everything from dispatch, real-time operations, all the way through. We even do IoT, which is digital evidence. We have our own cameras that were proposed as part of this solution that fully integrate. So again, all of these pieces were built by us using the same back-end technology to work together. Some things that you might consider if you're looking at an on-prem solution versus a cloud. There are hard costs that sometimes are not considered in the pricing model. For example, obviously you would have to buy hardware, a server that typically has to be replaced every 5 years, plus a maintenance contract to keep that up. You have the operating system, so Windows Server OS and maintenance to keep that up. SQL Server database licensing and maintenance on that, or if it's another database that's non-standard like SQL Server, same thing would apply. You've got migration services. So each time you replace that server, the company's got to come in and take everything from the old server and put it onto the new, and there's significant expense with that. You have your backup systems and maintenance, your high availability that gives you the 99.99 system uptime, your disaster recovery. How quickly, if something goes wrong with your system, are you flipped over and up and running again? How long does it take to get up and running again? You've got your power and backups and maintenance on that, antivirus and monitoring tools, cybersecurity, third-party mapping, licensing, two-factor authentication. So all of these things are things to consider, and the last one up there is the cost of mobile devices. Our applications run in a mobile environment. They're very light, and they require less bandwidth than most programs. So you give deputies the ability to do their work out in the field without having to return to the office all the time to complete their reports. Some efficiencies gained, we believe, from our system is, again, the full in-field system-wide access. There is no part of our system you cannot run from a laptop, from a tablet, from a handheld device. The ability to work offline we talked about. We do tie into your existing Active Directory, providing a single logon for the deputies. No needing to memorize multiple passwords. Our system will not require a VPN. If you do not have mobile devices today, you will have to invest in an infrastructure to provide VPN connectivity. Our system is CGIS certified. We actually create a VPN the minute a user logs in, and we break it the minute they log out. It would not be required. We have the patented e-citations. It is our own solution. We have deputies in Baton Rouge who claim they can issue a citation before the light turns green. I've had a sheriff tell me he has to remind his deputies to talk to people because they can issue a citation so quickly. There is zero downtime for upgrades. So when it's time to upgrade the system, the users have no idea that it's happening behind the scenes. Everybody logs in and continues to use the system as usual. We do believe, because of the modern tools, the modern look and feel, it is much easier to use, providing for faster training, retention, and staff morale. And then for IT people, there's the fact that they are familiar with the technology in the back end that we're providing. We did include in our quote some features that are generally unique to us versus many of our competitors. A citizen portal and a hyperview. This reduces workload of the staff. I haven't met an agency in the country yet that is fully staffed. They're always running understaffed. So they've got to maximize the resources that they currently have. With our citizen portal, which is also a win for the community, they have the ability to log in to the system, request reports, view warrants and inmate lookups, order reports, like I said, register their alarms, their cameras, their bikes, their weapons, their pets, any of those types of things, pay court and traffic fines, make funeral escort requests, extra duty or business checks, and it gives outside agencies with the hyperview, who are constantly probably pinging the sheriff's office and saying, is somebody in jail? Is this person booked? What's the status of a warrant here? And it's taking time from your personnel to check those things. We can just give them secure access so that they can look these things up on their own. So in summary, when you're considering a solution like ours, it is more of a disruptive solution, a new solution, a cloud-based solution. Consider the hard and soft cost savings of IT, system administration, deputy usage, the ability to use it in the field, not just in the full system in the field. Leveraging your existing investments, the fact that there are no third parties, or very few, if any, third parties required to make the system work, including hardware vendors. Consider the apples to apples functionality, right, of the two systems. Consider the cybersecurity. It's becoming a bigger issue all the time. When you put a server on-prem, you assume responsibility for that. If you had a data breach, if you had a data loss, the community is going to want to know what you're doing and what steps you took to protect that data. By having this in the Microsoft Azure Gov Cloud, you reduce a lot of that risk from yourselves, and you push that off to Microsoft and 365 Labs. And it's an investment in a modern tech stack, right? Familiar tools. and interfaces. And I'll just conclude with this before we go into Q&A. It's a big investment. These systems are not inexpensive. Even the least expensive system out there costs a lot of money. Industry standards are that agencies will keep these systems for 20 to 25 years. So the decision you make is a decision you will have to live with. At 365 Labs, we say that we're built for the next 25 years, not the last 25 years. You think about purchasing an automobile today, a cop car, there's carbureted engines, and then we moved to fuel injection, and then we moved to turbo, and now we're electric. I guess our pitch to you is that 365 Labs, we're an electric engine. The difference between a vehicle and a computer software system, though, is a vehicle you're probably going to replace in 3 years. So that's the longest you'd have to live with that decision. When it comes to a system like this for law enforcement software, you will live with this likely for 20 to 30 years. So with that, I'll turn the time over to questions.
Pretty thorough. You already answered
I've got a question.
some of the things I was concerned.
My question is, since y'all are disrupted, where y'all are at in the industry is you're disrupted, what, is there any potential, because if this is a 20 to 25 year process or plan for us in the future, what's the potential of you being bought? And what would happen if you are purchased by a whomever? I'll just say whomever. And would that be part of the contract to move forward so that we don't have to start completely over again?
Yeah, certainly those are terms that if as far as your level of comfort, you'd like to negotiate into the contract.
Right.
I guess there's no guarantees for any company, and even those that are part of larger corporations, there's no guarantee that they may say this is unprofitable and sell that piece of the business off. So I can tell you that being a partner in the business, that our discussion has not been to sell. Our discussion has been, if anything, at some point we would look to go public. We believe what we have built here is a platform solution for public safety, much like Facebook was a platform for social media. And that's what we think we have the potential to be. So we're excited about that. And that's, if there's any discussions regarding that type of conversation, that's where
You understand my concern,
absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
What I sort of got from your presentation is that 365 Lab is more fixed rather than assisting dispatchers and what they do. I heard you say about the interview room that you offer assistance in the interview room and the courtroom, but I didn't hear very much about how you assist dispatchers out there on the job when they're called.
Yes, so
for
we,
assistance.
yes, sir, thank you. We offer a fully functional computer-aided dispatch system. It's in use by state law enforcement in the state of Louisiana today. And it has been purchased, like I mentioned, the agency in Washington who dispatches for 20 different agencies in the state. So we offer a full-fledged computer-aided dispatch system. I don't know if that was
I
there
did
more
see
to-
that you not only assist dispatchers, but you also had some fixed service in the courtroom and in the interview room that I hadn't been here previously.
Yes, so our ecosystem extends beyond just the traditional CAD and mobile and records in jail, and we do offer these other pieces. For example, another piece that would tie directly into the CAD is we utilize AVL devices. If you've seen, sometimes insurance companies will send you those little devices you can plug into your car. We utilize those as our AVL. Our dispatch will dispatch the deputies based on their location to the incident, right, as it's being fed to them. But also, there's a diagnostics on there that's reading the car information. Is the car overheated or the tires deflated? And the dispatch software actually recognizes that if an officer had or a deputy had a flat tire or an overheated engine, it would not recommend that car to dispatch. Thank you.
Well, anything else? We certainly appreciate you all's presentation. We certainly taken under consideration. I think that in order for the board to acknowledge this presentation.
So
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk vote. Motion passes unanimously. We certainly thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to the possibility. Ms. Campanella, I don't know whether you wanted to, whether you had any comments or anything you
No,
wanted to
I
add
don't.
to
So
it?
we do have their proposals,
Okay.
and so we'll get those to y'all, so y'all can make those decisions that next 2 weeks. During that next board meeting, y'all can make a decision of anticipated award amount or to whoever. We have a score sheet. Like they mentioned, it is lengthy. I printed everything off and we're going through everything, but it's very lengthy, and we've done that on purpose. As he mentioned before, a lot of the questions, it just sets us up to grow. We're not always gonna be here 5 years from now, 20 years from now. I want this system to grow. The system that we've had, the radio system that we've had since 2001. The records management that we've had since 2005. So I mean, it's time. and both systems, anything that we go to is gonna be efficient for everybody that's involved. That's fire, medical, law enforcement, 911, and like, you know, if we can make it go through to the prosecutor's module where they can see everything that everybody's doing. This person's record follows them from the time of call till, you know, if there is a citation, if there's a jail, if there's a court, you know, it follows them all the way through. It can implement road department. I mean, this can be a whole county platform, and that's what I hope to get it to. So that was the point for all the extra, and y'all know me. I'm always gonna be a little bit extra, everybody that actually knows that. But part of that is to build a system that we can be proud of, and then 20 years from now, it's still working for everybody that's left here.
We certainly appreciate your service and your thoroughness.
Thank
Yes, ma'am.
Thank y'all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Y'all don't mind, someone catch the light, that'd be great. We'll move right along to the road manager report. Mr. Keith Thompson, good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Keith.
Y'all have your road manager report there. Do you have any questions?
Any questions, comments, criticism, or complaints from anybody?
I think they're doing all they
Got
can
any
do.
criticism, anything like that? I want you to hold that to later.
Hey, they don't know that.
Looks like you did a good job putting it all together.
If not, we're gonna move right along.
Okay, move along.
I heard you talking about Wash Lane there, and the update is, Mark and I, we did go out, to investigate this, and this is a flood-prone area, so we're probably not gonna alleviate all the flooding, but what we do see is something that we can do, on the county's right of way, which would be, more ditching, widening those out and the cross drains, so that can be done, on the county's right of way. The equipment, the packer that was out on Reverend Well Road, we were able to remove that. It did start and load, so it may not be a whole lot wrong with the, it's obvious that when it gets hot, that's when it locks up, so it's something that may be able to be fixed, but it is on the premises. I am seeking, we have a covered resident on Osborne Road, 1261 Osborne, that does not have a cover, and the water is coming off the road onto their property. If there is a cover, it's down. I couldn't find it with my little dig and probing, but I would like permission to move forward with installing a cover there, 1261 Osborne Road.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously. Supervisor Miller.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, take one past it. These are the roads that were bid out earlier, and just kind of want to try to give an update on it. There are some we haven't started on yet, some we have. I haven't had the time to come up with a plan as far as moving forward, so I would hope I do see we are in line to interview a road manager, so I would hope that may be something that the new road manager would be able to come in on, go ahead and put motion in place as far as to move forward with those roads. Again, these are roads that were bidded out. Okay, I also like permission to continue renting from Scott's Equipment, the compactor roller and the front mounted broom, to continue renting that for another month.
So
Motion
moved.
by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Aye.
What was the equipment?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Compact roller and the front mounted broom. We've moved equipment to Miss Miller's area on Wilson's Road. We've already started 811 for that road, and we've already moved the grader there, so we're gonna be starting that probably today. I'd just like to just give a little update on that. Other than that, that's all I really have, unless you guys have some questions for me.
I think we got a lot coming up, you know what I mean?
It's about to get warm, so it's gonna be a lot of moving around. So we're trying to get caught up on some of our work orders that we're behind on. So when the weather does change, we will be able to move forward on building the roads.
I do have a question. How's your, have you all fully implemented the 10-day rotation?
Yes, sir. We have, and right now it's coming along pretty good. We still getting a lot of work orders coming in, and what I've instructed, to the foremen at each shop, that on these work orders that we get, one work order to one road, to spend the day on that road, because it takes a lot of time to mobilize. We only have 8 hours, so sometimes it takes 2 to 3 hours just to move the equipment, which only leaves us 4 to 5 hours to actually do the work. So I've instructed them to spend the whole day on that road, so that way we can at least get something done.
Yeah, very wise.
Yeah.
I see you have in your road manager report about a list of equipment that needs to be
Yes,
repaired often.
and with that equipment, there's some equipment on there that I don't think we need to auction off. We have 2 trucks, a dozer, and that particular compactor that we just moved. We're gonna need these when we start building roads, so if we do sell them, then that means we're gonna have to rent. The trucks, there's nothing wrong with, 300 076 and 075. The compactor, I think, can be fixed by cranking it up and moving. When we moved it, I think that's something that we probably can fix. But again, we're gonna need this when we start building roads, so if we get rid of it, we're gonna have to rent it. So I recommend we don't auction off those parts.
But the listing that you have 1 through 11,
Yes.
those need to be
Yes, sir.
disposed of.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've heard the request from the road manager. What's the pleasure of the board on that particular issue?
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard, that we prepare these listing of equipment for disposal of through auction. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Supervisor Miller?
Yes. Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
I did have something about the road bid out. Could you explain that in terms of the progress that's gonna be in the next few months? If that's what that, I don't really understand when you say road bid out, because there are some roads on the list that in District 5 that I think should be on there, depending on what road bid out really means.
Okay, to my knowledge, these roads by the county were bidded out to secondary.
Phillips and others, I think.
Yeah. Okay, I understand that. Yeah, right. That's right, because I'm still working on some with Clyde.
Correct.
That's what I want to make sure I understand what
Exactly.
that really means.
That was bidded out, that
Uh-huh.
Pritchard Engineering was overseeing.
That's right. That's right.
The only caveat to District 3 is Harrow Road. The county is the primary on that road. The only part that was bid out to Phillips was the soil cementing of that road.
I think
But
what's left
all-
is Madden
yeah,
Cylinders is
Madden.
what's left on it.
All of the other roads that's listed in District 3 were totally contracted. They were totally, Harold Road is the only one that's got a little caveat to it.
Yeah. And we are going to bid out at least one more road, at least one more.
One more.
But I'll be talking to get more information, I'll be giving more information in regards to that.
Do you know the
But
road?
that's
right
good
now?
though, that's good. The answer to your question is not yet.
Okay. All right. But Bluff
But
Lake, I
thank
think
you.
it's been done.
Yeah, Bluff
Houston
Lake has
Thompson,
been done.
Longview, Aiden, they've been done. Osborne,
County line.
County Line, that's the question. I left a question about that. How we done?
It's been done.
It's been done, okay.
They striped it 2 weeks ago, a week or two ago.
And a few of the roads, like Morris and Nichols, Rock Hill, they haven't been started yet. But, again, a lot of them have already been, soil cemented, and what's left, on some of them are mat and seal, Barwell, Breland. Those will be, mat and seal. That's what's left to do on those roads.
There's a need for mat and seal on Hurst Road. On Hurst Road. Hurst Road is prepared for mat and seal. It's ready for mat and seal.
Supervisor Miller has asked me to make certain that to drag Sanders Road, it's been washed out real bad. And apparently it just dropped her again.
Where is she at?
I think she's at the horse park apparently.
Okay.
All right, we can take care of Sanders. Anything else to roll, man?
Yeah, Ms. Roman, let me congratulate you on the 10-day maintenance process. I think that's good. And I'm wondering, however, how we're gonna keep up with whether or not a person have completed their 10 days in on that particular job.
What we've come up with is a list, for each satellite shop, to let us know where they're gonna start, their 10-day rotation, and what I'll do is I'll make copies of it and I provide to each road manager. That way, if there is a particular road that you want them to start on, that'll be the opportunity to suggest that then. They can start where you want them. If not, I suggest that they start on the most worst roads to start the 10-day program, unless you say otherwise.
We have some input then as to whether or not we think should go there.
Yes.
It's working.
Well, we're trying to, I think if it's given the opportunity.
Good idea.
Yeah, if given the opportunity, I think it will work. It will give us a chance to catch up on some of the, behind work orders that we have.
Amen.
Anything else? If not, let's approve the road manager report.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by their public voting sign. Motion passes unanimous. 4-0. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, I'm getting a text now, and there's several, but there's a lot of potholes, and I know we're doing everything we can, but about a mile off of Highway 82 on Maven Sturgis Road, see if we can, in that area, try to see if we can do a little work on that first mile or two of Maven Sturgis Road off 82. It's really rough.
Okay.
There's a lot of roads out there that got some
potholes.
potholes.
Yeah,
And
this
I
last
agree
rain,
with you, that's bad. Potholes are bad. I don't know whether you're gonna be able to have someone to go and work on.
Well,
It's all
some of
over-
the crews
all over the
are able to
place.
break down. They're able to send, multiple people in multiple places. And so that's what we're trying to address, emergencies like potholes, especially roads that have some pretty bad potholes.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
will we do, cover replacement or cover extension now, or that's gonna be doing the, county business for supervisor?
Either way, if you wanna go ahead and do it now, because he may need to be released.
He might need to,
You have a request?
yes, if you would. Covered extension on 2187 Williams Road. Covered extension. Covered replacement, and this really need to be done at the intersection of Lottie Lane and Octop.
Yeah, I saw that in the email. You had
That's
that in the
bad.
email. Yeah.
It's bad.
Yes, I have that.
Okay.
That is a replacement.
That's a replacement on Lottie Lane and Octop.
There's two separate sites.
Do
Two-
the 2181 Williams Road extension first.
It's
and then
covered
come back and do
extension.
that.
Okay, we got a
Cover
motion by
extension.
Supervisor Williams. Can we get a second for that? Second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
What's the address to the Lolly?
It's
That's
just
the intersection of Octop and Lottie Lane.
Got a motion by Supervisor Williams on that. A second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion passes unanimously. Are there any other cover requests that the road manager needs to be aware of coming from any other member of the board? All right. If not, then we've already approved your report. Ms. Williams, will you finish?
Well, I have some things that need to be addressed. There are some hilly driveways that going steep up the hill, and as a result of that, ditching is poor beside the covered area, so water's running straight down the driveway. And as a result, it is damaging our road with the gravel flowing right onto our road, and we had to go back and sweep it back, and we're losing gravel because we're constantly putting gravel on those type of roads. So I guess what I'm asking for is that we allow for a few feet of extension that's necessary to cut some ditches alongside the cover, and it might extend somewhat past the area that's allotted. But it's necessary that we have some ditching so the water can run in the ditch and then, rather than straight down the driveway. So I'm asking for that to take place, permission to get slightly off the easement at the intersection of Blackjack and Debbie Lane.
Blackjack and what?
Blackjack and Debbie Lane.
Is that a 911 road there?
That's a 911 road.
How far are you talking up the road?
It's not, well, let me see. I guess I have to measure and let you know, but I'm thinking maybe 10, 15 feet beyond what is already.
Right away.
Yeah.
I guess just get a right of entry agreement and then some pictures to back it up. And, I think that would alleviate that.
There's another one at 2016 Mount Olive. 2016 Mount Olive. I don't know whether we need a motion for these or not.
You will. So we got a motion for the entry of right of way on
Debbie
Lane.
Debbie Lane and
to
intersection Blackjack.
Washout that's damaging the road, Blackjack. I got a motion by Supervisor Williams. Is there a second? Second by myself. Any questions concerning the motion?
Question. And again, I'm confused. You said there's steep driveways. So are you asking the county to go in on private property and cut down driveways for people to make them not so steep?
No, I'm not asking that.
Okay,
I'm asking that we allow for drainage.
I mean, what do you,
But-
go in on the driveways and do what?
To allow for drainage, to cut ditches. To cut ditches so the water won't run down the driveway and take gravel into the road and damage the road. And in addition to that, waste gravel. Waste gravel is what we've been doing.
And I'm gonna be the same as last time until some investigation is done. I do know that there was a proposal brought to this board a couple of years ago to address that issue, and the issue was, as we were spotting up driveways, some of the gravel was excess. And to save the board from having to bring a backhoe, bring a dump truck, pick up gravel and haul it off, the request was to just allow a tractor to go and blade the gravel up further into the driveway, which I think met some, but it was gonna be at a cost to savings to the county, because we'd have to have all that equipment. And there is gravel that washes out into, but if we just simply bladed it on up into the driveway, then that would stop that. But I'm just gonna wait until the investigation on that issue, and then I'll so right now I'm
Yeah.
no with it.
Can we just table that issue then until, let them
Okay.
take a look at it?
You want road man to do the investigation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go out.
If you would investigate 216 Mount Olive and 941 Mount Olive,
Okay, so,
and the one on Debbie Lane.
Your call has been
so our
forwarded.
motion has been amended to investigate these three
Right.
locations and report back to the board on recommendation. Okay, we got a motion, a second to do that. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, let me know by the vote sign.
216 Olive, 941.
216, 941, and the intersection of Debbie and Blackjack.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, on Longview Road, and I called, I got it with Mr. Lois about that. Is there close to the railroad track, right there in that first curve? Did you get up with Clyde?
I did, I talked to Clyde, he's gonna go look at it.
So, I guess I'll wait until I hear back from Clyde, but right there close to the railroad, in that, really the only curve, you may as well say, on Longview Road, where Phillips came in, I mean, it's down to the mud, to the dirt. So, we don't need to do anything, I say yet, but when we hear back from Clyde, we'll know what action to take. So I guess I'll wait till the next meeting, but that brand new road, I mean, it's got a spot right now that's already washed out to the mud.
Just backing up, Mr. Thompson, if you will, I think Dr. Rogers and Ms. Eskridge, they had some road department issues or concerns. If you don't mind, research both of those and see if there's anything this board needs to do.
Well,
in those situations.
discussing Miss Rogers, I met with Keith and Mark, a couple other people out there on Longview Road, and I think we've got in place what's gonna fix at least right there at the ditch where it's falling off. We're gonna kind of mat some riprap or, into that face so it doesn't erode. But I think that'll alleviate the main concern.
Okay.
So,
Well, good.
I know she talked about her fence there.
her fence,
Yeah.
I think we just support the fence with that riprap, and that'll alleviate what I see as problems.
If anything needs to be changed, just report back and we'll
Yeah.
take it on to the rest.
What was she talking about, that corner, or are we talking about the posts? The fence post itself?
Fence post, the wire, the whole fence, really.
Or does she wanna move it back off the right of way to give us some room, or?
No, she didn't say anything about moving, about, putting it back, so
Well,
I think we.
I would say reasonably so. I saw one T-post that's kind of bent. We could pull that T-post out and replace that T-post. Beyond that, I don't see anything that's besides that and the erosion that they're underway already. We just need some more riprap to fix that.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. I think you got all the direction you need, unless there's something else you need.
That's right now. This is
Okay, well, we've approved your report, and we certainly appreciate all you're doing.
Keith,
Appreciate what all the road departments do.
let me say how much I appreciate you and Mark and the rest of, and our county administrator for keeping this thing in the road.
Yeah.
Because y'all has done an excellent job of keeping the county road department moving while we're in this transitional period. I appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all, allowing us to do this, because, it's not easy.
I can imagine.
So, yeah, some residents, that's part of it. And, so, we just glad you guys are allowing us to try to, alleviate some of the problems that we do have. I know it's not gonna fix everything, but it's a start.
I appreciate it,
A
kid.
couple of our older people did call me and compliment you, by the way. I think that the board needs to be aware of that they appreciate
Me?
it. They did. They said you were very kind to them. I don't know what the situation was, but that you were very kind, and I don't know that you were able to fix the problem, but I think that you were kind, and that goes a long way for
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Well, I don't think it takes a whole lot of fussing and cussing to get the job done. I'll leave that to somebody else. We're gonna, do what we can, to alleviate the problems and to get the job done, as best we can with what we have.
We appreciate you.
Even with the new road manager, it still seems like we need a person like Mr. Keith
We do.
And a person like Mark,
to go out.
both of them.
They both already employed.
I'm telling you, both of them.
Mark has not moved from one district to another as much. Now our superintendent has been very diversified and have moved around from one district to another one. And that's Dwayne Johnson.
I guess, can you explain what you mean by he hadn't moved?
I was waiting on Mark and Keith coming from your district to meet him at Longview Road.
I know he came over
They've
there
been in there
once.
quite a bit.
He came over there once and talked.
Because I think the 10-day start
And-
was in that
and
district.
He came over there once and talked, but he didn't just talk one day. But he didn't do any work or anything like that, or didn't stay around. I think he's pretty tied in to where he's at. But anyway, Mr. Keith is doing a good job, and we still need someone like Mr. Keith. But I'm sure Mark is tied in with the responsibility that he has within his own district. So I think we should take that under consideration. His continuing progress, the way he's doing, and going out to make contact.
dropped again.
Okay. All right, well, we certainly
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You and Mark have worked real well
Yes,
together,
sir.
man.
Oh, yeah, we do
Thank you.
the best we can. Sure appreciate the
Yes,
board
sir.
allowing us to do this.
Yes, sir.
Chancellor? Okay. Mr. Patty, come on forward.
Call has been forwarded to an automated voice message.
I don't think she's available, guys.
Thank y'all. How's everybody doing? This will be real quick.
Doing good, man.
We're applying for some AFG grants, and all I need to do is get the board's permission. If we do get awarded these grants, it's a 5% match. So, for example, we're applying for 2 trucks. One of the trucks is probably going to be roughly $400,000. So, if we do get the truck, the board will have to actually come up with $20,000, which is
Pretty
very
good.
good on the money. And I need the board's permission to do that in case we get this grant.
All right, you heard the request.
Yes.
What's the pleasure?
Make motion for approval for him to apply for these grants.
Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper vote.
Thank you.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for all you do.
What was the name of the grant?
AFG.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving along to Ms. Chancery Clerk, is there any Chancery Clerk business?
Yes, I have a couple of things.
Please.
The first thing I have is, for the month of January, we did have a CD bid, and that went to Guarantee Bank for 1.78% interest. So I
Okay.
want to acknowledge that.
Okay, there's a question, motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard, that we acknowledge that movement. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion passes unanimously. 4-0.
Second thing I had, I need an order to allow me to publish the notice to start with Daily News and start with Dispatch for the audit report for 2019 and 2020.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
I had a proof of publication come back for the Morgantown Bridge closure. I need a board order for that.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
And the last thing, the proof of publication for the public hearing that we did back on November the 9th of 2022.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Publication for the public hearing. This is in the paper and the
All right. We'll move to County Business Administration, and Mr. Lord will take your directive on how you want to handle the administration
I
business.
prefer to take them one at a time.
Okay.
We have payroll changes for approval.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Pritchard Engineering invoice 16341 in the amount of $36,591.97.
What is that pertaining to?
That's for District 3.
Reed Road, Center Grove, and Harold Road. One of them is for the design, one of them for the construction phase of Center Grove, another for the construction.
I'm gonna ask that those be pulled out with non-payment for today, along with, item number 3, the $274,723.38 for Phillips Contractor. I'm gonna request that that be pulled out for consideration for payment today.
Number 2 and 3.
So table the number 2 and 3.
Okay.
I did talk to Clyde. He spoke with them and they are gonna get back out there, but the weather just wasn't allowing it. I
Yep,
just wanted you to know.
and I appreciate that, and I did too, but at this point, I'm waiting on them to get me some documentation on exactly what their plans are out there and give me a solution package, for everybody to be agreed upon before they just go back out and start doing something.
Sounds good.
Who seconded those 2 tables?
I will.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion
Alright,
passes
so
unanimously.
we'll move to number 4. Phillips contract for District 5 invoice in the amount of $235,575.
Let's table that one. And reason being is that they're a very rough spot. And I talked to Clyde about that spot, but he said it was on us, not on them. But I'd like for some representative from the road department to take a look at that and give a second opinion in regards to that.
I did speak to Clyde about that. That's the Bluff Lake.
Bluff Lake.
Excuse me. What he said to me, that portion of Bluff Lake Road is what the road department did, not Phillips. And the
Yeah,
road
that-
department would
I
have to
understand.
come back out and repair it.
Yeah.
So just
Let
want
me
you to
get,
know.
I'd like to get someone from the road department to go out there with me.
Okay.
Go out there with me and take a look at that. I'm thinking that it was in the original construction, not the DBST that was put down. But, you know, I'd like to get a second opinion in regards to that.
That's your motion?
Yeah, motion to table.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard, that we table that request. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, moving on to number 5, which is the state aid project number SAP 53AM, which is the Courthouse Road change request number 1. Talk to Clyde about this. Everything is paid for on the Courthouse Road. It is completed. This is just the final review report. He wanted me to tell the board that, so it's not changing, asking for any money. So everyone is paid and that project is complete.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning that motion?
Did they complete the repair on the bridge on Poorhouse Road? I think that was part of the request.
We did not specifically talk about the bridge, but I'll ask him. He just said Poorhouse Road.
He said it's complete, okay.
All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, state aid project number SAP 539M, which is the Octok Road project. You have subcontract request number 1, 2, and 3 for approval.
Right, 3 subcontracts, we have motion for approval.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion?
And that includes the flagging too, you know, to keep, that's was.
And striping, I thought
Yeah.
they were moving ahead pretty fast with the striping, but they subcontracting for the striping also.
Yeah.
But flagging too is
Yeah.
good that they've taken care of flagging.
Amen.
Yeah.
Questions?
And the removal of the pipe that they, remove, so that's good.
All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
The Bell South telecommunication right of way on Nicholas Lane and Frontage Road.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Budget amendment for the road department for $14,479.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Budget amendment for the road department in the amount of $769,039. Let me explain, this is the used tax money that came in for the month of January.
Amen.
It goes to the road and bridge, it funds that, but I called to the auditors and they're okay. We're gonna do a budget amendment to get all that money into the road department budget because it's needed. It's
Amen.
our way.
This is how it's gonna be distributed, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Got a
I make motion.
on that?
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning the motion?
No, sir.
All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Budget amendment for the sheriff department in the amount of $27,000.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Budget amendment for the sheriff department in the amount of $2,500.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
You have Securus Technologies contract for the Occidental County Jail.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
SIDNet Content Broadcasting System contract for the Occidental County Jail.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor
Second.
Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
16 section land, trust lease agreement.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard.
On all 4 of them?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
They
You have
just
four.
for a home, for a residential
Yes.
type.
16 section through the school.
16
You just
section
have
for
to agree to
residential
it.
type.
All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Credit card charges in the amount of $294.45.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
We have payment of claim docket number 1358 through 1819 in the amount of, and I'll explain it at the end, $31,964,857.90. If you look at your claim dockets, what we put to the front of it is that CD bid that we had for that month in the amount of $24 million. So the claims actually for the month is much less than this, but we have to account for that CD bid check.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor
Second.
Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Couple other things. I want to remind you, we're having the bid opening for Harris Road Bridge, February 9th, this Thursday at 10. We're having the bid opening for the Old West Point Road on February 16th. That's next week, Thursday at 10. And I also wanted to just let this board know that you all have been getting a bunch of calls and compliments on Keith, the road department, and from other businesses, and some of our vendors, just stating how pleasant it is to call and talk to somebody that you can probably work with.
Seconded.
Yeah.
Both of those bid open at 10?
Yes. This Thursday, the 16th, that's all I have.
How are we coming on our phones and things of that nature?
The landline,
Well, you know, we've been having all kind of trouble with customers trying to get through and.
we have so many different types of phone lines, analog and PRI lines, that we're having to get all that information to C-Spire to make it an easy transition. So it's a lot of work that gotta happen behind the scene to get to them ahead of time. We're working on it.
Okay.
We have a contact person with C-Spire that we're getting all the information to.
I don't know if this is the time, I've been, speaking in communication with Vice Mayor, Roy A. Perkins with the city about partnering on a couple of other projects. We identified a couple of roads, a couple of streets over in Rolling Hills that, I've got the money in my budget to be able to go half on these projects, and the city has agreed to go half on these projects. Inca Road and Inca Street.
And LaFleur.
And LaFleur. So I'd like the board to authorize me to enter into this agreement with the city to get these projects done.
Got a motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Do we need to take any action?
One other thing, Christian spoke with, Mr. Kemp with the city. You have in your package the cost estimate to put lighting outside of the safe room. Kristen, did you want to elaborate on that since you're here?
Yes, I think it was 3 poles, they had sent over a request. I just asked him to build me a lighting plan. It's so dark in that parking lot, and most of the time that we're there, it's dark outside. We did have a lady that almost fell one night. Jarvis wouldn't have been there, she would have failed. So, a lighting plan is what I asked him for, so he sent that back. I think it was 3 poles and like 6 to 7 lights, I think, altogether. So he said that would be sufficient enough to light up the whole area all around.
And it would be at a cost of $150 a month now. I was thinking if we could work with the city on this, because that safe room is servicing the city citizens. Citizens from the county are not gonna drive from the county. So that's just my thinking.
Could we send a friendly, no different than what they ask on some of these road projects, maybe we could share the cost?
The board attorney should try to make contact with them and see.
Would that be okay with the rest of the board?
I would
Say,
think
So
it's.
we got a motion and a second to send them a letter in response.
Yeah.
With our wishes. Any questions concerning that? Motion second. All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Good idea.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard.
Send a nice friendly letter saying how we're partnering with them on it.
Anything else, from the administration?
That's all I have.
All right, board attorney.
Mine needs to be done I've got 2 issues that need to be dealt with, and they're both land transactional type stuff, and it's not something that needs to be.
It needs to be in closed.
It needs to
Can
be-
we go ahead and handle everything else
Yes, sir.
before we do that?
As far as I'm concerned, yes, sir.
Moving on to supervisor business, county business supervisor, number 1, item 1.
So, election commissioner appointment, and you have that letter in there that, Ms. Henderson is stepping down as the chair. She already has. So it would be, it's my knowledge, it's my appointment anyway. So I'm gonna appoint her as the, interim election commissioner of District 1.
Second, that's your motion?
Yes, sir.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the proper voting sign.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Are there any more cover requests that we didn't catch? I think we caught those. Anything else from any member of the board? I guess just give you some quick updates as it relates to projects and things of that nature. We have had a chance to speak with our representatives that are representing us on the lake project and some other projects. They're wanting the board to consider possible going to Washington maybe sometime latter part of March. I'll be going this week, going to NATO, but they're wanting us to, perhaps some of us, to come in March to really make a physical request for the projects that we have in mind. Of course, you all know our projects of priority are, of course, the building, and then of course we have a road project, and then of course we're still in behind getting updates on the NRCS watershed project. From my understanding, everything is moving along. I have had conversations with some individuals from NRCS, and as of right now, there's nothing that we need to do on our end. And when the time comes for us to move forward or take any action, they will notify us as a result of that. So we have a major watershed project. I think Mississippi received about $80 million in watershed projects throughout the state. So we got at least almost up to $13 million of that. So we did real well in the watershed project, and some of our other neighboring counties got some projects too. And also dealing with, I think we had some community room requests that we had want to get some federal support on. And if you got something else that you looking at that we need to put together something on the federal level, let's get that done, so when whoever goes, we can have all that in the package and present it to our delegation. What we're looking at doing possibly is maybe getting some type of direct appropriation, on the federal level.
Yeah.
And then on the state level, of course, we've been in communication with our representatives there. You all were at where you were, and you heard it said the state has more money than they've ever had in the history of the state. And so that means we need to make sure we get our request in, and make sure we follow up, and then make sure we let them know that we're expecting some support here in our County for various projects that we got.
Yeah. What about public wastewater? We had discussed that as a possibility. So since
There's gonna be two pots, just to let everybody know, there's probably gonna end up being two pots. One is gonna be the regular requests we generally make. I got a feeling, I'm not gonna try to promise this, but I got a feeling that there's gonna be a separate pot of money for wastewater and sewer and things like that for the whole state. So if we have an opportunity, because we've got a major project that we need to be plugging into. Now, some of that is gonna require us, and this is something I'm gonna suggest that we continue, but we need to have a plan, a complete plan for the entire county. Not one side, not the other side, the whole thing, a master plan that we're gonna move forward with. Yeah. That's gonna be a suggestion that I make. It may cost us a little money to get that going. What we can do is this year ask for that some planning money.
Planning dollars, yeah.
To do and to plug in. But as y'all already know, that kind of, the planning money alone is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So, as that opportunity arises, I may be giving y'all a call and say, hey, this is what we got, what y'all think?
Yeah.
Do we need to back up and approve travel?
We've already done it.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it.
Not February, but the end of March travel that you just
We'll have
talked.
to do that. We'll have to do that when the time comes. I think we're looking at March the 24th through the 26th. That's tentative now, but it may change.
Okay. Well, I guess
No,
we'll just
correct.
wait until.
March the
get
27th
some
through the
dates.
29th.
Well, we have definite dates.
Okay.
The
All right.
next meeting, hopefully, I'll be.
Okay.
All righty, anything else from any county supervisor bid? And I think you all see what we have listed for 1210, so that'll take care of itself. So if we don't have any other bids, I think it's been brought to our attention that we need to consider a possibility of going into executive session to deal with the potential of land transaction. Can we get a motion second to that effect?
I move we go into closed session to determine if we need to go into executive
Motion by
session.
Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Williams. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the appropriate voting sign. Motion passes unanimously. And once we come out, the next item will be for adjournment, or recess, rather.
The applicants outside.
Okay, over there?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Somebody